Peace, everyone. It's your girl, Siquoyia Blue, back in here with another episode. Today's special guest is Aiden Gabor. He is a reformed mobster and memoir author, which is really interesting to me because I grew up watching mobsters and everything, and especially A Bronx Tale when the young man, I can't even remember the character, but the young man was in the mob and his I guess the mobster leader, he was mentoring him and stuff, and it was kind of like this that father figure. I know Robert De Niro was in there, but he wasn't in the mob. But I just thought, I mean, it's just interesting, like to learn about like how that life is. So Aiden, can you tell us about your early life and what led you to become involved with the mob?
The early life was my dad was an associate, and it all started when we had gatherings, I guess you could say, like barbecues, where a lot of in the old country, the moms would come in and they would cook, and we would have, basically spaghetti with Italian sauce, you name it. And I was big for my age. I was a good sized kid. And we used to get little scuffles out there. And I mean, I beat up on kids that were 6, 7 years older than me. And we get in fights, the cops would show up and they'd be like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Girl, we're wrestling. That's all. Get the F out of here." And what it was, it just led from there. One of the guys, Eddie, who was a cowboy, he said, "Hey, you get a chance, come by the shop. I got something for you." And back then, the respect thing, when an adult talks to you, especially someone like him, you exactly have one over there. He's like, "Hey, take this ride your bike, take this package to this, whoever it was, the address, we'll tell you what it is. And half the time, if they give you something, bring it back. Don't look in it, don't do anything, just take it straight there. Don't stop for anything." And I would do it. And then I would get back, he'd give me 20, 30, $40, depending. And then I'd go to candy store with my buddies and be king. We get the candy store 30, $40 back then, a couple $100 like today. And so that's how it all started. I worked my way up. And I used to go by the shop and clean a little bit. And a shop, it was like a shop because they did a chop shop for cars, stolen cars, but they also had like a little rec area, which is like almost like a club. Guys would come in that were associates and other crew members from our area, and there would be a lot of police officers and stuff in there. And I just remember cleaning up and just being in there, and Eddie's like, come on with you. We're going to teach you some things. I like you." And we had a guy that I read the book, his name was Nicky, and he was kind of scared me as a kid because here I am like 10 years old, and he's teaching me, this is what you do in an ice pick. You do this. This is where you stick it. Keep an ice pick on you because you can use it, stab somebody 4, 5, 6 times. You're worried about that. You run away. You can leave it. There's no fingerprints. And I used to look at this guy thinking, okay. Well, as I got older, he just kept pulling me aside. He said, "I like you because you listen. I like your dad. So, you're listening." And so that's how that started. And I just worked my way up to, I stole some cars. We mostly did loan sharking. We would do protection. We would do gambling. There was prostitution, but since I was so young, I wasn't allowed to go by the girls or do anything with that. They kept me on other things, and I would drive. They taught me how to drive, taught me how to shoot, and I would drive Eddie around, and that's how I kind of started that, worked my way up to, I would enforce and collect all the way up until I turned almost 19.
Wow. And what was the scariest thing you experienced being in the mob?
The scariest thing, I mean, I've had several times people point guns at me. I got stabbed
Oh,
and stuff. That was probably, I mean, I've seen a lot of things I can't talk about, but
yeah.
I'd hear about a bunch of things. But as far as happening to me, I think the scariest was when I got stabbed and then realizing that I'm bleeding. I was not happy with that because, I found out later I was diagnosed with, I have no neuropathy. I have no empathy for anybody.
Mm.
And so I was more worried about myself. So if it happened to somebody, it sucked to be them. I didn't care. I'd laugh when somebody got hurt. And then, I also get diagnosed with borderline psychotic, like sociopath. And so that kind of explains, like, when I watch movies, even with my wife, I laugh when somebody gets something broken or hand chopped off, or I think it's funny. I'm better nowadays. I'm getting better at it. But to me, as long as I'm not getting hurt or a family member, I don't care. It
Wow.
didn't bother me. But when I got stabbed, yeah, that really pissed me. That really hurt and pissed me off, and had to go get stitches. And the funny part is, the doctor that stitched us up was my primary doctor, which was kind of funny. Like, oh, look, I'm going, oh, Dr. Marty, hi. He goes, yeah, what did you do?
Oh my
That was
goodness.
it. Yes,
You had to
ma'am.
make up something. You had to say, well, I just
Wow, he knew what it was because
you
he
knew.
did stuff ready. Yeah, oh yeah, he knew. He kind of, when he saw me, kind of like, wow, okay. And he would be like, oh wow, okay.
Dang,
Yeah, it was
that's
kind of
interesting.
crazy.
Yeah, because mobs, they kind of like, I mean, I don't know, from in the movies, they kind of like run the town, they work with the FBI, they do so much stuff, and it's like, I don't know, it's real interesting and it's scary because it's like you can't really go against it. It's almost like the Crips and all these other like gangs and stuff. And sometimes when you leave, they'll try to I don't know, try to kill you or something if you leave. Has that happened to you? Like you when you wanted to leave the mob, that they try to like threaten you or something?
Well, I'm going to say this like right now. I never said anything against the crew I ran with and anything. And uh, I never did anything against them. And what happened was the FBI came and started arresting everybody. And Eddie came to me and said, hey, you need to go. I had a chance to play football in college. He said, you need to go and you go get your college. You've never been arrested. They suspect you, but they haven't arrested you. So you have a chance. Go. I'm leaving. Just do me a favor. Keep an eye on my son. And that was the last time I ever saw him. I talked to him one time afterwards, and he took off, and I went to school. And that's when the DOJ showed up. But prior to that, I never said anything against the guys either.
Oh,
When he was asked, I told him to kiss my ass. It ain't going to happen. But that doesn't mean, like I said, that's why I'm doing this now. Yeah, I've had several attempts in my life, and I've been shot several times because of this. And so, and it could be from the people I put away that they think I did with the guys I ran with, they still family, or it could be the law enforcement people I put away in prison that has family. So it could be any one of those, but the first attempt I know I saw that got me, I got shot. I knew the guys that did it they saw me because I would turn fire at them. They got theirs, but they I knew those two. But the other ones I didn't. They were more chick where they try to get you in the back type of deal. So
wow.
that's kind of why I'm kind of like is. Yeah. So they don't. I guess you could say if you look at the movies, yes, they do. It's hard to step away, but you can't. It's not like the gangs, like the Chris. Like, we did a lot of business with the gangs, and like we wouldn't sell drugs. That was our big thing. We don't do drugs. And we would let basically the gangs take care of their neighbor with their own drugs. Well, we take a percentage. Just like we did stuff in their territory, we would give them a percentage. We kind of worked together. So there's never an issue with them back then. Now, nowadays, I'm not sure how it goes. I know some of the people I've talked to, they still do little percentage things with them, but I don't think it's the same as it was back then.
Wow. That's interesting. And and you mentioned that you became an informant. Like, how was that journey? Like, how did you get involved in that?
Well, I was at school, and these two clowns show up, and they said they want to talk to me. They're in suits, and I'm looking like, what the F do you guys want? Get out of my dorm. No, we need to talk. No, are you listening to me or you want to be? So I thought at first, I'm just going to tell these clowns to leave. And then I thought, well, let me figure out what they really want because they wouldn't be here if there wasn't something. They didn't just throw me in handcuffs. Let me do a fishing expedition and see what they want. So I went with these two and went to a restaurant. And just a little like hole wall. They had these two at the time. I remember this, like these two green roof or a big green roof. And we went in, and it wasn't an IHOP, but I don't know what they used to call it. Anyway, we went in there, and they were sitting there, they ordered, and they threw this envelope in front of me. And it was pictures. And I was like, hey, look, it's some great pictures. Check out these pictures. I'm like, all right. I open up. So it's a picture of me with Eddie, my dad with Eddie, with me with Dominic, me with a couple of me with Nick. It was just with everybody. And then the couple pictures, my mom with Eddie, my mom with Dominic, my mom driving with Eddie and me, and my mom driving with Dominic. And I looked at her and I'm like, and they're like, well, you're looking at 75 years in prison. We're going to arrest your mom and father too now for the same thing. You ever heard this little law? It's a new law called RICO. We're going to use that against you. It's a brand new law out there. I'm like, here I am, 19 years old, not having a clue. What the hell is this? We could arrest you just association. You'll go to jail just like you did something. And let's be honest, I didn't care about my dad. I didn't care about my dad going. But when I had my mom, I lost it. I'm like, what? I don't care what any guy out there says. We're all mama's boys. I was a mama's boy, a big time mama's boy. And I was scared to death of my mother. They told me, I go, what do you want me to do? They go, well, party out of school. Play with the college girls. We'll give you some money. Just party out. At the end of the year, go home. And then we'll tell you what to do. And I thought, we'll come back to you. So they gave me a couple months. And I'm sucking up at playing ball. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. And then they showed up and I thought, hey, what do you think? Do I go to prison? I will just go to court with your mom and them. We're all going to go to prison. I was scared. I said, what do you want me to do? Party. Well, we said, we'll get back to you. So I did it. I partied and drunk and didn't go to class and stupid. And then I got home. It was just at the summer. And I'm told it was back, I think it was like May. And I went and I got home and then they met me. And they told me, meet me at this restaurant. It was an hour some away. And they said, okay, what we want to do, why don't you get in this department as a police officer? And I just laughed. And you want to be a what? I want you to be a police officer, get on this department. Oh my God. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. They're like, really, this is the only way you can do it without going to jail or any of your family. I'm like, whatever. So they told me what department. I go home and I tell my mom and dad I want to go back to school. I'm going to be a police officer. My mom just cried and walked on her. My dad looked at me and screamed through something at me. He said, you want to be a fucking flatfoot? I can't believe you're going to do this. Oh, my God. Get the fuck out of my face. I didn't talk to my dad for about 10 years after that. My mom's just like, Joe, she's just, oh, my God, oh. And I'm like, she's like, hey, no. And I'm like, no, that's what I want to do. Oh, okay, I'll support if that's what you want. So I go on and all he says, get on this department. So I went and tested and it was physical, come back to neurosurgery fit. And I got on. Back then wasn't this hard. And then I get on, start working a little bit. They meet up again. They said, well, we got this guy on there. We want you to, his name's Terry. And we believe he's done some things as a hitman. I laughed about that. So I go, you want me to look at this clown that thinks he's a hitman to see if he really is a hitman? Yeah, there's some inconsistency. Two hits happened there, and he was the first one there, and all this. And I'm like, whatever. And yeah, so I started out with that. They wanted me to watch this off. So I got close to this guy. And if you ever meet a person with an extremely abrasive personality, it was this guy. You talk about the biggest asshole in the world. That was him. Nobody liked him. He was just a jerk. And yeah, I had to get close to that clown.
Wow. Like, I mean, that's interesting. It's like I always say informants, it's like, how do you get close with someone when, especially if they're an asshole or you're going through, like you're trying to find an end to get them to trust you. I always think that's super hard, because like, how can you act but for so long, But you can probably read his mind in a way because you've already had that, you already been in that situation and that type of element. So I guess it could be easier in a way to be able to. But
Yeah, when I
dangerous.
first did, yeah, when I first did, the two agents told me, these two assholes, that you're going in as an informant. You're not going undercover, so you're not getting any backup. You're not. If something happens to you, oh well. If
Oh my God.
something you have to figure. If you get into a situation, you gotta get out yourself. You're informing us what's happening. You're not undercover, so there's no one to be there. We just need information. I thought
It's so
so. I
scary.
mean, I got close to this guy, and he was not a nice guy. But he's like, I know you, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't know. I think to myself, where I know this guy from? And he's like, no, I see you were Eddie in them. Oh, I wanted that. I'm working with a crew here. Well, really, I don't want to hear it. That's old news. I don't want to talk about it. Who gives a shit? I don't want. That's history. And he's like, no, I'll tell you. He goes, you'd understand. He goes, I'm looking at crew. I done a couple of hits. He got really drunk. We're going about 9 months, 10, maybe a little longer, maybe 10, 11 months. He finally opens up, and I'm like, you need to shut up about this. So after a couple more months, he opens up more about what he did. He says, I know you understand. I want to be what you were doing. I go, no, you don't. You don't want to be in that type of thing. And one night we went out with his wife, and we all getting drunk. He went to come over. She's crying. She said, did he tell you? He said he knows you. He saw you with the guys you ran with. That, what he did. I can't live. I go, you need to deal with it and shut up. Just shut up about it and keep quiet. I don't know if I can handle it. We get back to his place. She's still crying. I'm like, you just need to shut up. And he's getting all drunk. And back then I started drinking, which was not a good thing.
Oh man.
And so eventually I ended up, I went back and we met up with these guys about a month later and told them, you know what, this is the situation. Yeah, he's an ass, and yeah, he's did it. He basically said something to me. But I go, if you want to get somebody that will get him, talk to the wife. See, if she turns on her own, comes to you and says something, then you know what, you can get him. She's ready to crack. She's already gone completely bonkers over this. And they did. They went and they talked to her, and she ended up helping to put him in prison. And when everything happened, they were like, it's like rats leaving the ships. So I was like the third officer in the department. I got a call, hey, the feds are all over the place. They're arresting people. They arrested Terry. And I'm like, you know what? I put in I'm leaving. So when I met up with these guys, they had me go to another department. And they said, all right, we want you to do it good. I go, do you want me to testify? No, we don't need you to testify. We want information. If you testify, it's one and done. You're done. We want you to go someplace else. I'm like, where? And they told me to go to the Bluffs, which is the town I grew up in. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, get on that department. Are you not where I went, not where I grew up? No, yes. We know because you know the people in there. We need you to help get some dirty police officers and politicians in the town. And we know you saw them, and we knew you did things with them, and we knew this, and we need you to get these guys. I said, all right, whatever. And I got on the department. But the way I got and I saw the mayor and the police commissioner, and they're like, Aiden, yes, sir. You going to toe the line? Yes, sir. I'll do whatever you need to do. You need to toe the line. If we need something, you're going to do it. Whatever you need to do. So I am here. I'm told whatever you need. Like, all right. I got on the department. And then after I was there for a month, a little over 10 years, I ended up putting several of the police officers and commissioners and the mayor in prison.
Wow. I mean, and you're blessed to be alive to tell the story because, I read so much stuff and there's so many whistleblowers end up, you know, like killed somewhere, or they'll say it's a suicide or something, and it's like quote unquote suicide. You'd be like, nah, I know what's going on here. I mean, that's crazy. It's a hell of a story.
I've had several times where there's guys in there who would put guns in my face. I had one, I was walking up, one of the detectives, and we're going up the back stairs, and he turned around, and I'm up coming up. Now I'm behind him, so I'm lower. And I'm looking down a Glock, and I see the spiral ridges of the barrel. I'm looking right down at his right in my face, and he's like, "What are you doing here? What are you doing?" And I'm like, "What?" And I come up, and I just came up with this. you know what? Am I thinking? I'm like, I don't give a F what you're doing. I'm here to my own thing. I don't care what you're into. I don't know what you think I'm into, but you know what? You know where I've been, you know where I ran with. I was part of the machine. I knew what you did. You were there, but you were a cog. If something happens, you wanted to be there. They could replace you in a second. But if something happened with me, I was part of the machine. The machine would go down. You were just a cog and you wanted to be where I was. Even though I was a hell of a lot younger than you, you were jealous. But don't put a gun on my face accusing me of doing something that I know you're dirty with, I haven't said a word about. And he kind of looked at me and said, all right. We went in and went upstairs. And then about 15 minutes later, my buddy Don, who I grew up with on the apartment, had me over and he heard Commissioner talking with the detective and go, hey, what's this? Don't start shooting Aiden. He's towing the line. He's going to do what he's told. So don't worry about it. Don't get all upset with him. And he came over and asked me, what's going on? What the hell does that mean? I go, I have no clue. They're just assholes. All right. And for the longest time, Don helped me get a lot of information, not knowingly giving me information on guys, not knowing that. Because when you get in law enforcement, it's like when I just stuck with my crew, it was respect and a family. You were family. You didn't stay stuff. When you get in law enforcement, they have this thing called the blue line. You don't cross it. You have binders, you protect your brothers and sisters. You don't cross, you don't say anything. And that's what I felt like I did. But I was doing it good. When I started doing it, I'm doing it to save my ass. But after a while, I thought, this is good. I need to go. But because I started drinking, I became an alcoholic. And it was a very dark period for me. And I'd had hallucinations of the St. Michael with the flaming sword coming at me, saying, you betrayed, and chopping me. And I'm going to say this, that at least 200 times, I remember putting a Magnum round into my 357 and spinning the barrel and pulling it. And I know at least 200, not more times, I remember doing it. And I know at least that amount or that double that I passed out. And there was a couple times I woke up and there would be 3 rounds in a 6-round chamber. And I know for some reason, God had a reason for me not to die.
Yes.
But I was suicidal. I was extremely alcoholic. My buddy Don found me in a hotel room, took care of me, helped me kind of get better. But, he's like, you have a gun next to you with the round in. What the hell were you doing? Playing Russian roulette? And I'm like, yeah. Like, we got. So that was my very, very dark times, and he helped me kind of get through it. It took a long time. I still had demons. Like, the reason the book came to fruition is I was having bad demons, and my wife would call my buddy Sam and call Don and said, hey, he's having these, and he's hallucinating. He is having night terrors. He's attacking me and screaming and punching the wall. What to do? So we talked. So Sam and them came down and we had a long talk and we went over everything. Sam knows about 80%. Don knows about 90. White knows about 90 of what everything I've done. And Sam's like, you need to, as a therapy, write a book. Mm-hmm. And I thought, you know what, go to hell. I don't want to do this. At the same time, he's like, read this literature I give you. It's on the Baha'i faith. And I looked at the listener, you asshole. I was a tease. I worked for the other guy. I was such, I would get souls for the other guy. I am not religious. I was so anti-religious. So I was reading this literature on the Baha'i faith. And I started reading it and something hit me with this. And as we started doing, I was starting to talk to somebody about the book, which I didn't want to do, I was sitting outside looking at the sun, and something just hit me after reading Abdul Baha'i, some of his literature. And it's just like something different inside. I did not like the feeling. I did not like it. And all of a sudden, I just felt this warmth and inner peace. I kept reading more. So I became a Baha'i, and to this day, I do 3 times a week, which is a Blu class, which is a Bible class. I preach as much as I can, and I look at it as, wow, I came from the dark to the light. How stupid I was.
Wow.
We're all equal inside. We're all the same. We're We all bleed the same, whether you're, pink, white, purple, green, whatever you are, we're all the same. Men and women are equal. In the Baha'i faith, men and women are equal. I've always believed that nobody was higher than the other as far as man and a woman. And if you look at a household, a woman runs the household, your mother, your whatever, your wife. And so they're equal to you. And in some faiths, they put the woman subservient to the man. Well, no, women and men are equal, as in everybody else in the world. So that's why we need to get rid of racism. We need to get rid of all this bias stuff. And we need to work together. And I realized that. And that's what I do today.
I mean, I'm happy you're spreading that word. I mean, I've never heard of Baha'i faith. Is it like, are you worshiping Jesus, or is it just like a higher power?
Baha'i, it's the youngest religion, and it's the only one that's ever had a miracle that's actually been seen by newspapers, and over 10,000 newspapers, people have seen the miracle by the Bob, which, it's happened. And it's the youngest faith. Look at we all believe in the same God. We just look at him differently. Yeah. And all these messengers, you had Jesus, you had Muhammad, all the messengers were messengers. Abdul Baha'i, the Bab, they were messengers. And they've come to spread the word. And I believe I'm Catholic. I believe in Jesus. I believe in being in the Israeli. I believe in being Jewish. I believe in Muslim. I think we all look at the same God.
I'm the same way. I believe in all of it because I just know the higher power and just spiritual. There's a spiritual being there, and that it's helping us with everything. I just don't say, I'll say God, but it doesn't. It may not it has to be Jesus. It doesn't have to be Muhammad. It's just God. It is. The energy of God is there.
Absolutely. And we all do this together. Look how much a difference we can. The problem is everybody's trying to get rid of religion. And why? Because they might control you is how I look at it. Now, everybody looks at it differently. But religion, I think the spiritual, I feel different as a person. I feel better as a man. I feel better towards everybody in the world. Yes, I was in the dark. I was not a good person. And I know I can't make up or with everything I've done. I have ALS. I look as God's got a sense of humor because all the things I've done, he's like, yeah, I'm going to mess with you for a while. So I'm going to give you ALS and see how that works out for you, buddy. And I was never afraid of dying. I didn't care if I died. Now I'm fighting that I want to live to spread the word that we all need to work together and look at God spiritually, find something spiritually. My buddy Don and Sam, my whole life said, you need to. And I used to laugh at these guys. And now I look at it and I talk to my buddy Don is a Catholic. My wife stayed Catholic, but she did every class with me for 3 years with the Baha'i faith. She learned the Baha'i. She knows it better than I do. And she never became a Baha'i, but she's staying with me and she's supporting me. And I think it's part Sam supports me the whole way. He comes and visits and talks to me, got me Baha'i faith. It's one of those, I agree, a lot of people I've ever talked to have never heard of it. I told my kids that, and they're like, what? So they had to look it up on the internet to find out what it is. But again, it's something we need to work together with. And I'm glad you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty open-minded. And so I'm just like, if we all can work together and think more open-minded instead of staying in this construct, I think that things could change. Because right now it's just so much going on, with the politics and people trying to get where they want to be. They dealing with demons, PTSD and stuff. But I just think that if we can just be open-minded to not only the world, but ourselves, then I think that, we could just have a better life, and live it to the fullest, and that's something I'm trying to keep spreading too, because it's really crazy. You see all this stuff going on, just it's stressful. I'm like, we got to make it.
Absolutely. You're right. It's the world right now. And I think what it is, I'm the younger generation, the respect. There's no respect out there. If you look at the destroying national park, and it's all over the world. There's a respect thing, and I think it is a more of a, I'm going to call it the PlayStation age, because back in the day, we used to go out and play and come home when the light, when the street lights came on. Nowadays, kids want to stay in, they don't want to go out. They're on their cell phone or they're playing PlayStation.
Yep.
And they don't have time for religion. They don't have time to listen to their parents, and I'm thinking of we talk to these kids when they're younger and explain to them about
Yes.
what some having some spirituality will help you, and you could decide for yourself. But have something. Don't be like empty inside like I was. And I
Yes.
think nowadays it's just getting to them and not, hey, this side say I don't watch TV. I'm gonna be honest. I watch documentaries. I don't watch live TV because it pisses me off. And to me, it's not. Like my kids are the one who tells me what happens around the world. I don't really want to listen to it. And I guess you could say shut in, but I'm just like, I'm done. I'm done with politics. I'm done with, I'll read. I never was a big reader, but I'll read Abdul Baha'i, I read the writings. I learned more about the Jewish faith. I learned more about the Catholic faith. I found out when my mother was dying, we was raised Catholic, that she was Jewish, and it blew me away.
Oh, wow.
Not knowing that they had to hide it from the Nazis in World War II, and I'm like,
oh good Lord.
Yeah, those either Nazis or the Russians. Either one, they were killed. So I thought, I didn't know to her deathbed. And so I'm thinking, we need to learn more and work with each other. And I think the younger generation should listen to some of the older generation instead of telling this all-knowing, I know. No, you don't know. Until you get wisdom, you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
I was the same way when I was a kid, but I did listen to some of my adults. Back then, we had a little respect. And I listened, but not for I thought, no, I knew everything. No, I didn't know shit. Not, that's why you should always listen to your elders.
Yeah, you should. I mean, even if you feel like they're wrong, just you can take some good parts of it, that resonate with you, and then take out the rest. So, I mean, I just think people should just listen to everybody, even if it doesn't that one part doesn't resonate with you. That's how I look at it.
Well, you're absolutely right. You're 100% spot on.
Yeah. That's how I am now. I mean, it took me a minute because I used to believe the bad stuff and just stick to that. But you gotta, you gotta think. You gotta say, okay, this is not okay. This good part they said though, so I'm gonna listen to this. So this made sense. This resonates with me, and I think that's how it's gonna get better. But I want to talk about your book real quick. What's the title? Your book is called Conflicting Loyalties, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So, did your Baha'i faith help you write the book?
No. They had a little chat with them. They wanted some, just some wording in there because I wrote some of the sayings incorrectly. No. I just had a friend of mine that Sam said, you got to do it. And I mean, we got a hold of somebody. My wife Sabrina helped me, and we did it together. I got a great guy that was a ghostwriter helped me, and write a memoir. It's one of those. Oh yeah, this. Oh God, yeah, I forgot about that. Oh yeah. I mean, when we would write it, we're writing it for doing it. So we get little spots together, and then my wife would read it, and she'd be like, "Seriously, you're going from 15 to 20 to 14 to 30. Are you kidding me? You're jumping all over the place. Let's flow it." So she'd help make it flow, and which is really was amazing.
Wow.
And yes, that's how good she is. And we got it working together. I didn't want to make it too long. I didn't put a lot of things in there, but I wanted to get everything in there. I want to get in there about my early, the middle, how I found my love, and how I found the Baha'i faith. I want to get all that in there. And I think I did a pretty good job getting them all in.
Oh, that's amazing. That sounds like a good book. I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah, it's on Loyalties.com. It's you can go right on there. I'll tell you everything you want to get it.
Okay. I'm gonna add that in the show notes as well. Everybody, please check out his book and his amazing story, and support it. Be open-minded, because we need more open-mindedness nowadays. But before we go out, I always ask my guests, what's a saying or quote that you go by?
That I go by?
Yes.
My saying and quote that I like to go by is, never judge a book, or it used to be a book, but never judge a person by their cover, because you don't know or what they could be or what they could have been or what they were or what they are, because they can always turn and let's say you screwed somebody that may have been a better ass than you.
Wow.
That's my thought. Don't ever judge a person by the way they look, because you never know what's underneath.
Man, I'm telling you, you don't know, man. I mean, I don't do it no more neither. You just don't know. You don't know. That's a good quote. So I want to thank you for coming on the show, Aiden. I had such a great time speaking with you and learning from you. And I want to thank my guests for tuning in. Please subscribe. Please support Aiden's book and share this episode and stay safe out there. Peace.
Sequoia, thank you so much. It was an honor being on.